Hello everyone, Loremaster of Sotek here, and man, I thought I was safe. I thought I was safe. Yesterday, I figured, oh, we'll release the Andy Hall interview, and then tomorrow, it's Tuesday, so they'll be dropping some big news, and I could just rest today and take the day off, not worry about the internet and everything going on, and then deal with everything tomorrow. So I'll just take it easy today and relax and sleep and hibernate and all that stuff. And I think somewhere I sensed in the universe as I was sleeping, I think a part of me was just thinking, yeah, such a relaxing Monday. Why do I hear boss music? Little did I know that Creative Assembly was just gonna just drop a mess everywhere. So anyway, here we are. I'm gonna release this on Tuesday because I'm sticking to my original plan because I had other things to do. But in any event, it's been announced, the Siege rework. They're finally showing it off. So I haven't watched anything or read anything, so I'm going to play this video, which is the Siege rework video, and then we're gonna go check out the blog post. So hopefully this is really, really good. I am very excited to see what they're bringing to the table. My biggest hope before I dive in, the most important thing to me, which may seem like a fairly minor thing in the grand scheme of things, but to me personally, one of the things I'm the most hopeful for is the ability to put my damn war machines on the walls. I want to be able to have cannons and things that shoot in straight lines instead of arcs be able to be useful in sieges. That would mean the world to me. Especially, I will never forget that Total War Warhammer 1 trailer for the dwarfs. It's so beautiful when all the war machines on all the walls just open up and they're just blasting the hell out of the enemy. So hopefully that is represented in some way. That's my biggest hope. So without further ado, let's see what we're dealing with. Turn this down a smidge.
Sieging a settlement should not be an easy undertaking. Total War Warhammer 3 has reworked how sieges work. With new ways of attacking as well as defending, every inch taken will cost dearly.
Damn,
Settlement maps are
city.
now larger, and we've introduced more variety of maps than in previous games. With the fall of the Turtle Gate, Miao Ying moves her army from the Snake Gate to Wei Jin in an attempt to bolster the city's defenses and drive Tzeentch out of Cathay. Wei Jin, capital of the Celestial Dragon Empire, is a three-walled fortress and a testament to Cathay's architectural brilliance.
3 walls,
When
you say?
defending, walls are the first defense against an attacking
they're
army,
Gisele's up
but
there.
by no means the last.
Or crane gunners.
We now have the option to turn the streets into a bloody maze. Using supplies, we can build towers,
that's so
barricades,
good.
and traps. Prepare and plan your defense, but never rest easy. The first object for any attacker to overcome is the wall-mounted towers. Unfortunately for us Tzeentch invaders, towers now have wider capture areas, so defenders don't need to be as close for them to be active. This means we can spread our docked units across a larger area and pepper the invaders with arrows, bullets, and artillery on their approach.
And the flamers look good.
The might of Grand Cathay isn't enough to keep Tzeentch from breaching the walls. The
Ladders.
walls will soon fall. It's time to fall back to our secondary positions within the city. Our defense now lies with our barricades, traps, and towers.
Oh, yes.
We'll need a new currency introduced in Warhammer 3.
Supplies.
Supplies. We'll start
Whoa,
the
look
defense
at the
with a
unit
base number of
cards.
supplies
Those are
and
so
can gain
pretty.
more during combat by holding locations around the settlement. Minor supply, key building, and victory points. These key points have pre-designated build locations for construction.
Dude,
Once
look
a
how
barricade
good
or
the
tower is
mini-map
constructed,
is.
it
Like,
can be
how
dismantled
busy the
for a
city
refund
is.
of supplies and rebuilt elsewhere.
Damn!
But keep in mind, construction and dismantling is a lengthy process. Barricades and towers are destroyed if their health reaches 0, or if
Oh,
the
look at that
supply,
defiler.
building, or victory point
Defiler.
they're attached
Damn it,
to
it's
is
not a
taken
defiler.
by the attackers.
Stop calling it that.
If this occurs, your supplies are not refunded. It's worth noting that whilst attackers can capture points, they cannot build barricades or towers.
This
Rather
looks
than a
so
messy brawl in the
good.
streets, Warhammer 3's sieges are about defenders controlling the flow of battle, using a settlement's architecture to plan and execute layered fallbacks and hardpoints, where they can chip away at an attacker's forces. To this end, settlements have become multi-leveled with bridges and upper tiers that cross over streets,
Yes!
giving ranged
Holy
units more
shit,
opportunities
that's
to
so
shine.
cool!
A good many of these bridges
Dude,
and
you can
overlooks
use
are
the
dockable
bridges!
like the primary walls, giving our soldiers all the buffs
Wow!
and benefits of any other docked
Wow!
unit. In sieges, both the attacker and defender's role are tactically more challenging
Dude,
and
it's
more
not
rewarding.
just like a fight
Settlements
for a
in
wall
Warhammer
anymore.
3 have been designed with
then
more
it's
open
over.
areas and strategic avenues
Oh
to
my
hide troops
God,
in.
that looks
The avenues are
incredible!
the perfect ambush spot, making flanking and devastating charges a more viable
Dude,
tactical
this is gonna
strategy.
be fun for like multiplayer too. Like
In
sieges could
overview,
actually be
Warhammer
really
3's
fun.
sieges offer a diverse array
Oh my
of fresh
God,
settlements
look
to
at that!
overcome and protect. They allow defenders to prepare for a new kind of battle occurring after the attackers have taken the primary walls. They add a new currency to manage and spend on fortifying defensive
Holy
fallback positions
crap,
with
dude.
barricades, towers, and traps which are used to further repel invaders. They
That's a
allow for a
shaky-looking tower.
multi-layered experience where units can be docked to overlooks and walls within the
Oh my
settlement
God,
itself,
that's so
and encourages
good.
real-time
Whoa, look at
reorganizing
the
of defenses to adapt to an ever-changing battle. All of these features, coupled with dynamic new settlement designs, make for challenging and satisfying sieges
Holy-
packed with highs, lows,
Damn.
and phenomenal visuals.
This looks incredible.
Wei Jin has fallen, but the forces of Tzeentch will struggle to reach the celestial city above. The Dragon Emperor is safe for now. Even so, his daughter has barely managed to escape with her life. To Nangao she travels.
Oh, okay. I'm guessing this is a part 1. So, I'm curious. Okay, well, let's take a look at the article. So, oh man, that looks so good. That looked so good. I mean, oh gosh, we'll go back and kind of break all that down after we oh, this is the wrong article. Here we go. Steve Rework. We'll kind of go back over all that here at the end, but let's get into it. Man, God, oh my gosh, there's so many cool things in that. Like all the little different bridges overlooking areas. The fact that we could go on the bridges, like it actually feels like you're going to be finding your way to the center of these cities instead of just, you know, oh, they got in through the wall, we're all doomed. So oh God, I'm so excited. I'm really liking this. All right. Whew. Okay, let's get into this. Welcome back to CastleTotalWar.com. After a months-long grueling sieges of our gates, we're offering a peace/trade deal. Oh man, man, when CA is referring to the community as an invading horde that's been laying siege to them, like it's true, but oof. I told y'all stuff was coming. I told y'all stuff was coming. People just could not be patient. My lord. Anyway, all right, let's get into this. Giving you clicked. So, all right. Alongside plans for minor settlement battles, how it impacts some of the most important sieges, the massive attacks on the Chaos Waste and the Great Bastion of Grand Cathay, plus a couple screenshots from the layouts of Weijin and Nangao, 2 Cathayan cities you'll be getting intimately familiar with in your campaigns. These are pre-release shots from an aerial angle to show you layouts, so, you know, everything's still in development, obviously. I mean, we still got, what, it's October, so we've still got, at minimum, 4 months to release, probably 5. So, I mean, there's still almost half a year left to go. Anyway, sieges. The alterations comes to sieges in 2 major components, both of which are vital to understand to see just how much things have changed. The first is in the map design itself, the philosophy of that and the variety we're introducing through them. There's now a much wider selection of potential siege maps. So it's no longer just flat wall, corner, or bigger flat wall. Now there's some actual designs, which is excellent. Let's see. Each assigned to a settlement based on their default faction's culture, themes, and preferences for combat. Cathay and dwarves build highly defensive fortresses set into the sides of mountains, where their firepower can be exploited to its fullest. Meanwhile, Kislev has long withstood chaos with tight streets and hardy men and women who will fight tooth and claw for every inch. Races like the Skaven and Greenskins have more ramshackle fortresses that are no less deadly, which themselves pale in comparison to the weirdness of the strongholds dedicated to each chaos god on the outskirts of the realm of chaos. So, oh man, the fact that we're getting chaos fortresses now, finally. So I honestly think this is also pretty heavy confirmation that Warriors of Chaos will probably be building fortresses and having some sort of, I highly doubt they're going to be a true horde whenever they do get their update. I highly doubt they'll still be a true horde. But man, so the fact that all of the different races are being assigned attributes to determine how they build cities, I think is genius, because there are a lot of races that have similar design philosophies. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to do it. I really hope we still get like underground settlements with the Skaven, Greenskins, and Dwarves. I don't know how they would make it work to make it feel different, but hopefully they can think of something that would be really fun. Jesus Christ! Look at this! Look at Nangao, dude! So you've got this gigantic outer wall, and then once you get in, there's a secondary layer, and then once you get past that, there's the final layer is back here. So you got the biggest layer, or the top of the city is here, then you got the secondary layer, and then you've got the bottom layer, but there's also like a major gate you can smash through. That the major gate gives you straight access to the heart of the city, but you have to cross under 3 bridges where the enemy could just be shooting at you the entire time. Oh man, I'm really curious to see how they're gonna have the. I worry about the AI, to be honest. These sieges look really complex compared to what we're used to. Granted, there's like tons of buildable things, so maybe the way they help the AI out is make the AI have just way more resources and be very good at just building stuff, because at the very least that would offer much more of a threat. But I do not feel, my heart goes out to the AI intelligence designers. I don't know if it's the same people that I met a while ago, but if it is, man, my heart goes out to them. And I'm sure they're working overtime right now trying to get everything working. All right. Anyway, let's hop into it. The upshot of this is that each time you enter a siege, no matter which side you're on, the combination of your army, the enemy, and the layout of the settlement is going to make it a unique experience across many hours of play. We've deliberately paced the layouts of different settlements to avoid repeats between adjacent regions, and even factions that share layouts have different dressings that can impact gameplay as well as looks. Fighting 2 identical siege battles back to back should be a thing of the past. Thank you, gods! Thank you. These maps themselves have, man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Just seeing the bridges and stuff, like, I have a place where I can put on the war machines, so that if the enemy comes smashing through the gates, I can say fire, and they will. Oh god, I'm so excited. Anyway, these let's see. These maps themselves have been designed significantly differently from what you may be used to from Warhammer 2, as well as the capture points and buildable towers and barricades, which we'll get into below. We've upgraded our tools, AI, and design to make for much better maps. One significant area is height variation, with much larger differences between elevation levels throughout a map, and it being far more common than before. There are also dockable terrain areas within settlements, depending on their layout, giving ranged units more use inside the walls. These advancements also allowed us to add bridges to maps, giving new ways to move around settlements and creating tactical possibilities we haven't seen before. With this variation comes more open areas within settlements, which allows for far more diversity and viable unit types. A fight no longer starts and ends at the outer wall, of which many settlements now have several, making for 2 or 3 approach angles for attackers, and sieges are a much more interesting and realistic prospect of steadily defending and capturing areas of a town, city, castle, or hell pit. It makes defensive sieges a far more promising prospect, be they firing from the high ground inside a settlement past the outer walls or defending the streets themselves with clever placement. The second big upgrade is introducing the supplies and buildable structures we first introduced to you in the survival battles, which I loved that feature of survival battles. So I really, really enjoy the generating supplies and building barricades and towers and stuff as you move along. It felt really good, and I'm really excited. My biggest hope for it was that it would be part of Sieges, and I'm glad to see that's the case. While it is the same system and basic understanding, the use is completely different. Sieges now feature several capturable locations rather than one, and each provides supplies per second, as well as governs a few buildable locations. If they're lost, their attached buildings are destroyed. These come in two varieties, either towers or barricades. The big idea is that your initial defense will be focused on the walls. When these fall to your enemy's combination of artillery, flyers, siege towers, and brute strength, some units can now attack walls directly, as they can gates. Oh, that's awesome! So we're going to have more wall attackers. Because right now, I think the only units in the game that can attack walls in Total War Warhammer 1 and 2... I know Skaven drill teams can, and I forget who the other one is. Isn't there one... I don't remember who it is, but I think there's a monster that can. Maybe it's the Dread Saurian? I don't remember, but I know there's a monster, I think, that can attack walls, but I know the Skaven teams can as well. So I'm glad that's going to be much more available. So you can retreat into the city and create a custom-made secondary line with barricades, towers, firing platforms, and monuments where you want them. This allows you to create your own battle lines depending on your playstyle and the specifics of that battle. Each point can be upgraded or downgraded as you wish for the relative cost of building, making you able to shift your strategy on the fly. Naturally, while this system is shared with survival battles, balancing is done differently to ensure good gameplay. Each settlement also has a stockpile of supplies for you to begin the battle with. In campaign, this is determined by various factors. Buildings and level of settlement being the most notable, as well as scaling into the late game for the more major double full stack encounters that occur at that stage. If there's one thing I really think they need to do, and I really hope they do, is that if you're laying siege to an enemy settlement, I really hope they make the area of reinforcements, so the bubble that determines who gets to fight in the siege, a bit larger than it used to. Because one of the things that kills me about Warhammer 2 is how often you'll try and summon the AI to help you in a siege or something, and the AI just doesn't get close enough. Like, they just stand a little too far away because the area for reinforcement, summoning reinforcements of the battle is just so tiny. I also hope that we get different kinds of reinforcements for sieges. I've always wanted to do a battle where you're like Bretonnia riding to save an Empire city, and so when the battle starts, the Bretonians actually come riding off like from a different part of the map outside the walls instead of always showing up inside the walls. So I really hope that's something we get to see in this game, is that when allied reinforcements arrive for the battle, to aid, that they're from outside the walls instead of somehow magically making it inside the walls, which makes sense for some armies, but it would be really cool to be able to have those epic cavalry, saving of Minas Tirith or Helm's Deep type situations. Anyway, carrying on with the stuff here. This allows you to construct a few important towers and barricades to begin with, already garrisoning them with troops or using them as tactical choke points. In general, the new maps are much larger and with many more potential points of entry for your foe, so all these additional resources are going to be needed to keep things in check. As your opponent pushes in, you need to make decisions about which supply points and the districts they control are worth defending. Attackers cannot construct buildings or use supplies, nor do the supply locations provide victory points, but denying you them allows for more ways to move through your settlement. Dismantling defenses and moving them to a new location to secure and fight the battle anew is a vital strategy against the overwhelming odds that are often levied at a besieged settlement. Man, that's going to be super interesting. Just the whole concept of, okay, the enemy's coming at us, so picking like where you want to try and hold the city. Meanwhile, the attacker is trying to fight their way to those capture points in order to disable them. There are also two special capture points. One is a key building and one is the victory location. The key building is usually closer to the center of the settlement, and it provides a defensive buff if it is under the control of the besieged. Previously, we had defensive buffs that weren't always clear, so we've cleaned up that angle with this single clear benefit. The final victory point is also still there and is usually the furthest from the gates. This will mark either the glorious taking of a supposedly impenetrable fortress or the immovable object of your defense if your defensive forces proving their worth. Victory tickets are provided by both of these capture points. So I also super like that. So now there's a, oh man, that's so cool. Now, if you're an attacker or a defender, you have to really be weighing which are the, like, if you're being overwhelmed as the defender, you really need, you have like a whole thing of sitting there going, okay, which of these points do I need the most to hold on to? Like, obviously, I want to invest a good, solid defense on defending my key building, because that will ensure that my troops have notable buffs being provided by the settlement, so they're fighting at a higher quality than they would otherwise. Meanwhile, for the attacker, it's like, man, I'm having a hard time with these enemy troops. I really need to get rid of that buff. So maybe they'll go all in trying to take that. And obviously, you have your like ultimate capture point. The upshot of all this is that siege battles will be more interesting, more exciting, more varied, with greater tactical depth and more diverse unit viability, which is huge. New and larger map layouts with better terrain, cultural differences between factions being represented, plus the new home turf advantage of towers and key buildings, all combines for a new experience. And I think this is Nangao. Love this. I love this. We've also improved the AI, not only to handle all these new elements, but also to provide more of a challenge whether you're attacking or defending. Flyers and fast-moving units will now prioritize useful actions like preventing sallied-out cavalry from attacking ranged or siege units. The AI also has a greater understanding of how different areas in the map are under threat and when they should withdraw to prevent losses. This will make it more reactive and capable of fighting against diverse enemies. Many of these improvements are direct from Three Kingdoms and Troy, bringing the Warhammer trilogy right up to the modern day in terms of our best designed Total War titles. Ah, man, I really hope this is true. James Martin of Survival Battle fame has been taking us through everything so far. Here's his direct take on the AI changes. We started with the 3K AI as it provided us with a good base to work from. The 3K settlement AI had been very well received and worked well for our new settlement layouts. From there, we put a lot of work into how we author our siege AI graph to make it easier to design and more flexible to work with, which has also improved the pathfinding within settlements. With the introduction of the districts concept via the capture locations and supply points, the AI can now separate and manage large parts of the settlement map and say this area over that area, this district is more threatened than that one. They can then prioritize or fall back if one is overtaken by the attacker. For the settlement battles, they know how to build towers and barricades, which is something they don't have to do in survival battles. It also means that sieges are more challenging for the attacker, and defenders, particularly when manually controlled, can apply meaningful losses even with small garrisons if played well. It will take a true army to burst through the defense of a fortress, and starving out the defenders through newly rebalanced attrition. Oh, new attrition system. May be a better option than charging the walls. Of course, every day you spend starving them out is another day of them building supplies to construct defenses should you attack before they give up. That is so cool! So now, oh my god, I love that. So now if there's actually a downside to trying to wait somebody out, and it actually makes systems like the dwarves have a lot of really cool systems in their current character designs where you can really build up how long they're able to hold out against a siege and minimize the amount of attrition damage they take. But it tends to be pretty useless because there's not really a lot you can do while the AI just constantly like builds up attacking toys to attack you with, or is like they're bringing reinforcements because they already knew they were going to attack you there. So you very rarely, have any benefit to trying to defend in a siege other than just being like, whatever, auto-resolve. Like, I love that you're building supplies, and I'm really hoping this means that there will be retooled bonuses on like tech trees for more defensive focused races like dwarfs and Cathay, where they can like improve the amount of supplies they get per turn while they're being sieged, minimize attrition losses, stuff like that. Because if you're sitting there like just building up trying to starve them out, if they can really upgrade all their stats or whatever to really let them hold on for a long time, that greatly improves the odds of allies having you having time to build up a new army and go help out, or just make it miserable for the attacker, because when they finally do attack, if they don't just completely wait and starve you out, you're gonna say, oh, I've got all these supplies, so I'm gonna really wreck your day when you come in here. Minor settlement battles. This is all further enhanced by minor settlement battles to coming to Total War Warhammer 3. They follow many of the same improvements as Sieges, most notably that we've designed a huge number of special maps for each minor settlement, rather than using lightly modified land battle maps. The main difference is that these are not walled, but otherwise use the same systems of a key building, districts, towers, and barricades. Victory requires either a routed enemy or captured settlement, as in other Total War games. Mwah! I love it. I love that we're actually going to be fighting in the cities now, instead of outside of them. As mentioned, the defenders still have a supply count to build barricades and towers. Without an initial wall to act as a stopgap, it's a much more frantic defense which can shift and move at any time. You're unlikely to have time to build up a full stock of supplies while waiting for the enemy to get past your first line, so making sure your initial placements are up to snuff is vital. Barricades are in positions that prevent deeper access to a settlement, or at the very least demand that attackers take a more circuitous route. Towers are on platforms that are out of reach from melee units. Only flyers and ranged units can target them. Oh, that's so cool! However, they are also destroyed if their attached capture point is taken, making quick moving or stealthy troops another option. Oh, there's so many, like, really cool things. For balancing reasons, we've made it so flying units and summoned units cannot capture points, though there's nothing stopping them from wiping out the forces surrounding it and having some of their landlocked or corporeal allies come in to assist. Flyers are particularly effective at preventing the defending ranged units from peppering your other attackers as they approach. So flyers are now going to be, wow, I love that it makes all the different units have like different roles. Like if you have really cool stealth units, it used to be that, okay, you could sneak into the city and try and go to the central capture point, but there's probably going to be someone defending it. So that wasn't going to be super useful. But now it's like, oh, okay, I've got this unit of chameleon skinks or these Skaven gutter runners. They're going to be really good for sneaking into the enemy settlement and maybe trying to get, if your opponent is busy trying to hold the line somewhere, you could sneak around to one of the capture points they're not defending just to blow up all the defenses that it's associated with. I love that. Minor settlement battles are now exactly what they should be. Smaller sieges over less massive settlements, but with all the same grit and determination from both sides to conquer the area. Also, can I get an F in the comment section for those sweet, sweet boys that make the mod, the mod where every single settlement in Warhammer 2 is a unique map? Because they're going to have to completely rework their entire system. And, I don't even know what those poor guys are going to do. I hope that they obviously will do the same thing for Warhammer 3 just to add even more variety, but they won't be able to just port over their old maps because of all these new capture points and everything. Like, man, big salute to those guys. They have a busy schedule ahead of them, but I'm sure they're excited for it. Anyway, they're varied from each other, normal land battles and other sieges, adding a third to the usual most common two types of battles. The new layouts and options also mean that, should you wish to, taking manual control over defense against a rampaging army can really whittle them down over time, making it easier to defend your lands if your main armies are off making war elsewhere. Man, the thing I also really love about this is it's going to make minor settlements so much more interesting to defend if you don't want to waste all your time investing in walls, and it's going to make it possible to defend them without having walls. Because I would say one of my biggest complaints with Total War Warhammer as a series has been, especially in Warhammer 2, it felt like if you're playing on a difficulty higher than like normal, it felt like you were being a damn fool sometimes if you did not build every single settlement with full garrisons. So like every minor settlement has to have walls and every major settlement has to have a garrison. It felt like such a terrifying thing not to do that, because the defense you would have was just so paltry. It was miserable, and it would just be a land battle where you just get rocked. Now you can actually have a chance at having interesting battles and defending your towns, because you'll be able to like summon towers and use barricades, and your opponent may have superior numbers, but you can punish them for it and make things hard. And then last, the Great Bastion. Nowhere are the changes to sieges more relevant than in Grand Cathay. The Great Bastion is a mighty wall built to contain the tides of chaos many thousands of years ago by the Celestial Dragon Empire himself. It is now the domain of Miao Ying, the Storm Dragon, and she defends it with her life and her soldiers. Gameplay-wise, it has relevant, unique elements on and off the battlefield map. During a campaign, as you control, hold, and build up the Great Bastion as Cathay, Chaos forces will begin to gather, preparing to attack. You can ride out to usher them to a swift death or allow them to attack and break against the wall as so many have before. Numerous events and small quests will be centered around these walls, and controlling and managing them properly is a big part of the Cathay campaign in the north. Once on the battlefield, the Bastion is an incredibly defensible fortress. One single attackable wall with clear fallback points regularly interspersed towards the center. Strong walls with powerful towers are followed by swaths of buildable locations and defensible positions. However, all this is needed as the forces that will come to take it are truly titanic. The Chaos Gods know the value of breaching the Great Bastion, and their armies will flood from the realm of chaos if it is disturbed, be that by you or another faction. Conquer your demons, fight for the future. Be you attacking an enigmatic fortress of Zinch, or defending the Great Bastion of Cathay, or anything in between and beyond as any of the factions in Warhammer 3, sieges are going to be something new and exciting. The new systems are highly flexible and moddable, giving far more tools for us and you to expand them in the future. We're looking forward to you getting your hands on it in early 2022. Man, I am hyped. What a beautiful reveal. And everyone who's been bitching about not having gameplay, they don't have anything to show. They don't have anything to show. Shut up and sit the fuck down. I am so excited. Like, first of all, can we just talk about how freaking gorgeous the Cathayan cities are? I can't tell if that's the Celestial City or not.
Is a three-walled fortress
up there. It seems implied that's the Celestial City of the Dragon Emperor, but the Celestial City of the Dragon Emperor is flying, so I'm not really sure to what extent. God, this looks incredible, dude. So let's look for any like little interesting other tidbits. So I do really like that the towers are all the Terracotta Sentinels. They just haven't been activated. I think that's actually a really fun touch. And, you know, fits very nicely with the lore. But we get another good look at Flamers here, which is absolutely fantastic. Man, they are super hideous looking in, like, the best way. They are ugly. Ugly, ugly, ugly. The door. And, like, the ladders are still a little silly, but at the end of the day, they're just they're just there to get us from point A to point B. I don't really mind them that much, to be honest. Like I do hope we get to see some interesting mechanics for attackers. Like demons, like using the ladder system is silly, but at the end of the day, it gets you through. But I really hope they're able to do something with like the ethereal units from the vampire, the undead rosters. I would give anything for spirit units, ghosts, to be able to just fly through walls instead of getting stuck on them, unless there's like a special system that prevents that. But I really hope we're gonna see something for ethereal units, and like honestly, now that the walls are no longer like the pure focus of a siege battle, I think it's significantly less egregious. All right, so looking here at the kind of Cathay stuff, there's some really cool things we can actually see. So the unit cards, first of all, look spectacular. They're beautiful. It's very easy to tell what unit is what. The portraits look good. You can easily tell which units are yin and yang. If they're yang, they have the upper symbol with the white. And if they're yin, it's the lower symbol with the black. Here you can see like all the capture points. And I love that when you mouse over the capture point, it also shows like all the things it's connected to with little lines. Man, this looks so exciting and fun. Oh, I cannot wait to play this. Oh, I cannot wait to play this. I am just so excited. Man, that Soul Grinder is crazy looking up close. I really like the Soul Grinder. It looks like it's a single entity as well. I know a lot of people, most of the little things we've seen make it look like it was in a group of 3, but it looks like they are by themselves. Got old Kairos flying in the background. The blue horrors look fantastic. Even though they're holding their little goofy daggers. Oh my gosh, I love it! I love it so much! Got the whooshing war compass back there. Got a whole bunch of cannons. I wonder if they're playing on ultra unit sizes. the fact that we can actually get on and use the bridges is incredible. Like, look how cool that angle is, man. Being able to put units up there so they can fire down on everybody is spectacular. I love it so much. You can defend the barricades, and they've got good elevations. You can actually put your things that shoot in straight lines on the higher elevation so they can actually hit people, and they're not just completely useless once the enemies, like, get in. Well, not completely useless. They're not totally useless in Warhammer 2, but they're certainly more useless than I would like. You got these cool little side streets, and oh my god, dude. I can't wait to see all the different races have their new cities. Like, because, I mean, these cities are huge! These are titanic places! And you're genuinely fighting through all this big stuff. Ah, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. There's a lot of really cool things to see. I'm glad, like, we're getting some really cool footage of seeing battles in game and stuff. It looks like the Cathay towers or the upper shoot like rockets, which is really cool, as opposed to the Kislev ones, which the big ones shoot ice. Here we see the blue horrors and the flamers using their shooting attacks, which are super cool. Oh, look at that city, man. Look at that city. This looks fantastic. This, like, there are just the fact that there are multiple layers. So if you're, like, big on artillery, you could just have all your artillery on all these different levels, so that when the enemies finally break through the walls and come in, you're just like, open fire! Just blow the crap out of all of them. I am incredibly excited. This is great. And the blog had a ton of great info. I'm glad that they weren't being super teasy with it. They're like, all right, look, here's all the minor settlement stuff. Here's all the stuff we can tell you right now about the sieges, and let's talk a little bit about the Great Bastion. Like, let's just get it all on the floor. So it's really, really exciting to see all of this. I am immensely pleased. It seems that we are pretty much at the end of the Cathay show-off. So I imagine, it seems like based on the way they handled this trailer, we're probably going to see the Battle of Nangao and maybe some more information on Friday, just because we've been getting information every Tuesday and every Friday. And then I assume we're going to be heading into Tzeentch information very, very soon, which I am really looking forward to. Because I think we've done, there's an Enter the World of trailer for every playable race. So far. They've done one for Kislev, one for Khorne, and one for Cathay, so hopefully Into the World of Tzeentch will be coming out maybe next week, which will be really exciting. But I'm thrilled. Genuinely, I'm thrilled. This is looking really, really good so far. It's still a recognizable system. And the only thing that's still a little goofy is the ladders, but that's a small price to pay for functionality. And I'm really, really happy with how things are looking. I really am. I like how when the demons die, they actually poof. It looks like. Yeah, there's no. Looking around, there doesn't seem to be. Hold on, let me go back like 20 seconds. Because you can actually, I think there's some pink horrors dying in this battle on the walls. Oh my god, the fact that you can actually, like. Yeah, it looks like when the horrors die, they poof. Because I didn't see any bodies. And in there a scene where like a bunch of blue horrors get blown to smithereens? It is. Oh no, those are flamers. Maybe? I thought I saw it, but maybe I'm crazy. Oh, here it is. So defenders don't need to be as close for them to be active. This means we, because I'm hoping the demons don't leave corpses. That would be a nice, that'd be a good little lore thing. Because demons don't. They just kind of like fade back into they dissolve and kind of melt back into the ether when their physical forms are destroyed. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think. down below of all of the information. Like, what is there anything that you don't see that you're like that you wanted to? Like, I'm not seeing a way to put cannons and stuff on the walls, but now there's an elevation system, so now you can just put your cannons where they shoot over the walls, which is fine. Like, I'm totally fine with that. I just need a way for my cannons to go over the walls. So I'm super thrilled. Let me know what you guys think. Is there anything you see that has you really excited? Is there anything you don't see that you hope to see added at some point? Is there anything you think is missing? Is there anything that surprised you? Let me know what you guys think of this video and how you're feeling about the siege rework. I'm feeling pretty good about it. So thank you all so much for watching. I'll be back with I feel like I could barely keep up with everything that's happening these days, but I hope you all are enjoying the news and reveals as they continue to come out, and I will of course have more information as the information continues to pour out from Creative Assembly. Hopefully, I keep crossing my fingers that we will get at least a build for the media to play, to show off, like an early access build before the Christmas season. I doubt it, but it would be really nice. But we'll see what happens. You know what I would love for them to do is release a demo. Wouldn't that be cool? Like, but like for everybody, like just like the old school days, you know, where you would get like a demo on a disc, but just like as a download or something. Wouldn't that be nice if there was just like a big demo that give you like a mini campaign or something? That'd be awesome. But anyway, that's gonna be it for me today. I think I've already said that 3 or 4 times. I'm leaving now. Goodbye. Bye. 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 Bye.